When people ask how I plan and budget family vacations, the answer is simple: spreadsheets. Even before we had kids, I used spreadsheets to track our vacation budgets. Over the years, though, I've gotten much more detailed about tracking our spending and saving old budgets so I can use them for future trip estimates. I always start with the knowns: flights, accommodations, rental cars, and major activities like Disney tickets. From there, I create categories for every part of the trip and begin filling in both cash and points costs. I don't guess at these numbers. If the costs are already available, I use the exact amounts. Otherwise, I estimate based on current pricing or what we spent on similar trips in the past. In the beginning, my budget only covered major expenses: flights, hotels, rental cars, gas, and activities. After each trip, I go back through our credit card statement and add together all the smaller expenses we overlooked: food, drinks, souvenirs, hotel charges, and all the little day-to-day purchases that add up quickly on a vacation. Now my budget includes almost all of these categories up front. With a family of 6 and a fairly tight budget, we can't afford too many unknowns. Because I've saved budgets from previous trips, I can use them to make more accurate estimates. For example, I can look back at past Disney vacations and see what we spent over 4 days in the parks and estimate future costs with a pretty high level of confidence. One thing I also started doing is comparing full cash cost of the trip to what we actually paid using points. It's a great way to see how much value we're getting from points and rewards programs, and it helps justify the effort that goes into planning. As our trips become more complicated, my planning systems evolve too. During a big trip in July 2023 that involved a lot of moving around, I started adding dates and daily logistics into my spreadsheets. Eventually, I realized the best tool for organizing our schedule itself was actually the Microsoft Word calendar template. That calendar system has become one of my favorite planning tools. It keeps our activities, travel days, and reservations organized in a way that's easy for everyone to understand. It's especially helpful when we travel with our au pair because she can clearly see where we'll be, what's planned, and when she's expected to be working. It's also useful for helping keep family members informed about our schedule in case of emergencies. Once I've built the base budget, I compare it against our vacation account to see whether the trip is realistically possible. If the numbers don't work, I'll go back and make adjustments, cutting costs, changing plans, or finding better ways to use our points. Because nearly every expense has at least been estimated, it's easier to know whether a trip is truly within budget before we commit. After each vacation, I still go back and record the actual totals. Most of the time, we end up at or under budget because I intentionally try to overestimate expenses from the beginning. Every trip teaches me something new about how we travel, how we spend, and how I can improve the process moving forward. One of the biggest changes I've recently made is how I track the timing of our savings. I used to think about it very simply. We have a certain amount every week, and if there are 45 weeks until the trip, we'll have enough money by then. But the reality is that many travel expenses need to be booked and paid for long before the trip actually happens. In the past, we could temporarily borrow from ourselves using savings and pay it back as the money accumulated in the vacation account, but that added unnecessary stress and made tracking more complicated. Now, because we already have trips in various planning stages through 2029, I've started building preliminary budgets years in advance. That allows me to map out when flights, hotels, tickets, and other reservations will open for booking and when payments will be due. Having that timeline makes it easier to manage our vacation savings account and ensure the money is available before those expenses hit. At this point, vacation budgeting has become almost as much a part of the trip as the vacation itself. It's constantly evolving, and every trip helps refine the system a little more. Please like and subscribe to follow along for more.